Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Belief Breakthrough Show. I am your host, Tina Encarnacion, a holistic healer and an author. And I am so excited to be launching the month of December with Mariel Alvarado. She is an inspiration. She is absolutely amazing. And one of her favorite topics is breaking through the money mindset. And so she is the perfect person to jump our show off for the month. You guys, I just want to have you dig in deep with yourselves and your finances this month and realize that you truly deserve to be investing in yourself. You truly deserve to be using your finances to benefit yourself, to build yourself up, and to empower yourself. So take notes this month, dig in deep, just really figure out where you're at in your life and what you need to do to improve where you are at and to become the person that you truly want to become. So with that being said, I am going to hand the stage over to Mariel and just allow her to share with you why she's so passionate about this topic.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for inviting me. I love talking about this. My name is Mariel Alvarado, and some people call me the business alchemist. And I'm a business strategist. I'm a visibility strategist, I help spiritual entrepreneurs, creative experts, women who want to help others and use their gifts, by delivering either information, transformation, or a service, help them really set up their business so that they can start really making, a lot of money with with what their gifts are. So, and I love working with all kinds of women, but specifically entrepreneurs. We're a special breed. We're very creative people. Some of us have, me included at one point or another, and sometimes still, we have shiny object syndrome. We have all these ideas always circulating in our minds. And so it's always a little difficult to figure out how to organize all of that, how to connect the dots between our ideas, how we let people know about them and actually making money. So I love talking about money mindset because it is that one big thing that if you can really, it's the one relationship you'll have your whole life. The relationship with money. Yeah. Even more so sometimes than like husbands and boyfriends, it's like your relation, and it is a relationship, whether we know it or not. And it is the biggest block, that unseen block by most women. Everybody has a money mindset. And when you are trying to achieve your goals, even if it's not just, building a business, even if you're trying to achieve your goals, money will be a part of it. And really the way I've always seen money is just, it's a neutral energy, right? It's whatever we give it, it becomes. So yeah. So, with that said, I include a lot of money mindset work within my coaching practice with all of my clients.
Absolutely. What I really love that you said was money is a relationship, because it truly is. I know for me as a child, I kind of grew that belief that money was bad. Money was scary. Money was dangerous. And I carried that belief with me all the way until just a few months ago, when I really stepped up and said, money's not a bad thing. I deserve money. Money's good. I'm not going to be a successful business owner if I don't learn to appreciate money. And so understanding that its relationship is huge.
Oh my goodness, it's huge. And women specifically, we are raised to, not raised, I guess I should say it on a DNA level. We've survived in the past, couple thousand years by pleasing others and by having other people take care of us. Even if if your parents weren't like that, it's true. What I just said is true on a very subconscious and genetic level. So I feel like women, we struggle with it more because we have needs, and money is one of those, is that currency that gets a lot of those needs met, but at the same time, it's it can really, having or not having it, can really sabotage so many other important things in our life, such as relationships, or there's so many different reasons. Specifically, there's a few reasons that I always say that keep people from using money and doing the things that they need to do or say to get money. One of those things is like, we have the fear of rejection. We want people to like us. We don't want to be judged. We're afraid of not being approved of by our tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Losing love is always one of those things, and then having nothing. So in order to have money, we have to take certain actions in our life. But because of those different money stories that we have that are so deeply connected with survival mechanisms, we don't do them out of those fears, of having nothing, losing love, rejection, not being liked, judged, those kind of things.
We also like to use money as an excuse of why we can't do things. So for me, I specialize in helping women that are victims of trauma, victims of abuse. And a lot of them say, well, I can't leave this relationship because I don't have money. And that, for me, that tears my heart out.
Yeah. And really it's an excuse because it's resistance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of resistance when it comes to reaching our goals. So you just mentioned, leaving a relationship, that's like reaching a goal. But at the same time, it's like, are they really prepared to leave that relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Are they afraid that who are they going to disappoint? Who are they going to hurt? Are they going to lose love? Are they going to have nothing? And it's those little things that really keep people from making the right decisions. And then there's something as simple as the abundance mindset and the lack mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
So when we're trying to achieve a goal like that, like it's so funny because today I actually shared something pretty vulnerable in my group, and I was talking about how it's really important to know your why at the beginning of any endeavor, right? Like, what is your why? And I was thinking back to a time when I was first getting started in coaching and I really needed to succeed. Like I really needed my business to be a 6-figure business. And the reason to it at the beginning was because I needed to know if I should stay or leave a relationship. So that why was really messy. It was really powerful. It was like, oh my God. And then what happened to me is like, once I actually achieved that goal, I actually, when I launched my first program as an online coach, it took me about 3 months to really get it going to a point where it was producing consistent 5 figures. And at that point, it really blew my mind that I could make that much money in such little time. In fact, it made me feel like a bad person. So that is when I fell in love with money mindset and the fact that, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Like consciously, I know I deserve this. And I know that I worked my for this. I know, you consciously understand so many things. So I didn't understand why I felt dirty, why I felt like, what am I doing something wrong? Like, why am I making so much money? Like that's the sign that there is some stuff going on up here, right? In the belief department, which I love. By the way, the Belief Breakthrough show is awesome. But yeah, so what happened is that I really started realizing that I had all these skeletons in the closet about money, but and then I stopped. Then I didn't make any money for like the next 4 or 5 months because I had so much resistance to it.
Yeah.
Even though I did it, even though I wanted it, even though I was so good at what I did, it's that resistance that I had And that's why I got certified in money mindset afterwards. Cause I was like, oh my God, this is a real thing.
It's so real. And I love that you said you had so much resistance once you realized that. Although it wasn't money, when I opened up my doors to my healing practice, and I started watching women transform before my eyes. They were like, Tina, you've changed my life. What you
Yep.
do is a gift. And all of a sudden I was like, but who am I to do this? Like, who am I to change a life? Who am I to put myself out there? This can't be me. Like, I can't believe that I can be this powerful. And I literally went 8 months with no clients
Yeah.
because I have that resistance of, am I conceited? Am I doing something wrong? Should I not be doing this? Am I in alignment with myself? And so I completely understand that resistance. And as soon as I realized that I am deserving, I am worthy, I deserve to have a successful business, now my books are filled to the point where I'm booking out a month in advance. So, like, it's amazing how once you have that mindset shift, your life can change.
Absolutely. It's energy. And like I said, the relationship we have with money is an actual real relationship that we have. And until we get to the point where we actually befriend it, and I always do this amazing exercise with my clients where you actually learn who money is and what that relationship is like for you, and you befriend it, right? That really helps you make those shifts. A lot of people try to go back into their money history and their stories, but it's really not necessary to go back to your stories. We all have messed up stories regarding money. I mean, you mentioned a whole bunch of them. When we first started, like, money is the root of all evil. Only bad people have a lot of money. We have all those stories, but it's really not necessary to go back to those. What's necessary is to build new beliefs, right?
Absolutely.
The more you can impregnate your senses with these new beliefs, the faster you're going to shift into that new energy. Which is why
Absolutely.
people need people like you to work with them, so that you can walk them through it, through shifting, moving that energy, making it easier to shift the belief, stepping into a new identity.
Absolutely. And then also what I want to address is, we've already talked about money mindset and the belief that you deserve to have money. But let's talk about the self-sabotage, like not balancing the bank account, running up credit cards, spending money that you don't really have, using your credit cards as a second income. Because these are also money blocks and money mindset shifts that need to be made. People don't realize the self-sabotage behind it all.
Oh, 100%. So, we have values, and our values not necessarily just like, oh, I value my time, or no, it's like, we don't realize that some of the things that we are valuing in our life are really messed up. Like, and so one of those, an example is like, you may value being a victim. Why? Because it gets you attention. Because if you're a victim, you don't have to get into action. If you're a victim, you don't have to grow up, right? So it's like, you consciously don't say to yourself, oh, I value being a victim, but your subconscious value is, I value being a victim. I value this because that way I don't have to do that, right? So I see that happen a lot in terms of what you just said in the money mindset department. You may have a belief as well. Beliefs and values are cousins in my mind. You may have a belief that you don't deserve to have a lot of money, but you may be someone that can make money easily. So this was actually one of my situations. Like, I knew how to do it. And I knew how to manifest it. I knew how to put systems together, and there you go. But I had this belief that I couldn't hold on, that I wasn't going to build wealth, right? So it would come in and go, and I just felt like I needed to go spend it. I have to spend it. Like, I can't have this much money in my account. Well, why not?
Right.
So why do you have to spend it? Why can't you save it? Why can't you do something else with it, you know? So that's all resistance. I mean, whenever we self-sabotage ourselves in any way, whether it's by running up credit cards, not being able to hold on to money, or even not being able to invest in ourselves when we know we need it, that's sabotage too. Because
Yeah.
growth is not part of the ego's vocabulary. The ego
Mhm.
doesn't. Your ego wants to protect you and keep you where you're at,
Right.
small, protected, and that way you don't have to change, right? Because change is scary. Like we might be getting, you might be getting eaten by a bear or something. So that's all in the limbic part of our brain. It's like textbook neuroscience, really.
Mhm.
So yeah, so we create all kinds of self-sabotaging behavior to keep us from growing into our next phase, into our next level, into who we really are.
Right. Yeah. And I also liked how you mentioned the difference between having money and having wealth. Because a lot of people are like, I just want to be rich. But being rich is not necessarily being wealthy.
And being rich is not necessarily being happy.
Mm.
And you know, and being happy, and there's all these beliefs, right? So there's the belief that, well, if I'm happy, I don't have to have money in order to be happy. Well, I'm sorry, but I like really good things and they cost money. So it's like, our mind tries to get things either black and white, one or the other.
Mhm.
It's like that's how we want to process things, when in reality you can't. Everything is so overlapping and gray. I know a lot of very good-hearted rich people who do great things with their money, and I know a lot of really crappy people that do really bad things with their money. And there's everything, every color in the rainbow is out there.
Absolutely.
Behavior. So I don't know if I went off on a tangent there, but
Yeah.
you
No.
have any question?
It was the difference between having money and wealth. And I think you covered that really well.
Oh, good,
Um,
good. Yeah, and you
so
know what? Holding on to money is can sometimes be misconstrued by people, because especially if you're already somebody who believes in abundance, you're like, oh well, it's gonna come, it's gonna come, but it will come. However, there is groundedness, and also having investments and letting money work for you and letting money multiply and letting money do other things for you. That's wealth, right? That's when you create wealth.
mhm.
And so if you have too much of the money, of the abundance, to the point where it tilts over and you never save, then you also have an aversion to creating wealth.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it would be really good for the person who doesn't understand the difference between having money and wealth. Wealth is basically, and I could be wrong too. I'm not a money expert. It For me, what I see wealth is as when you have enough money to start working for you instead of having to work for the money. Is that
That's right.
correct?
That's right. That's how I see it too. That's why I mentioned, it's like, you can, once you become comfortable with the idea that you don't have to work so hard in order to make money. And that's one of the things that identifies when I start working with a client. Like when I start working with my clients, they are ready to start making money while they sleep. Like they have embodied that need. They're like, I would really like that. And until
Mm,
you really embody that need, it's the rest is just kind of like you grow up hearing this whole
yeah,
idea of you value hard work. So many people, no wonder why people in our society are work so much, because they equate working hard with being a good person. They
hmm,
equate working hard with being humble. They equate, so
hmm.
it's like, when in reality, the wealthy don't work that hard.
They really don't.
They
I'm
don't.
so tired of working hard.
Yeah, they don't work that hard. They let their money work for them, and it doesn't make them
Absolutely.
bad people. It makes them smart. And you know
Hmm.
what? Money is it's a neutral entity, energy. So it works for good people and bad people.
Absolutely.
So
And as also, I think for me, there's been a shift recently. I found my worth in my work. So for me, if I wasn't working, I was worthless. And
Mm,
so when I went from working the corporate career and I was the top of the ladder, and then I became a stay-at-home mom, and I
yeah,
fell into deep depression because I didn't feel like managing a household was a job, although it was the hardest job I've ever held. And to the point where I actually labeled myself, when people would say, well, what do you do for a living? Saying, oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom, really made me feel devalued. So I
yeah.
changed it. And people, when people would ask me, what do you do for a living? I would say, I'm a domestic engineer. And they said, oh, wow, what's that? That sounds really intriguing. I've never heard of that before. And I would say I manage the finances of the corporation that I work for, and I make sure that everyone is cared for and taken care of. I make sure the schedules are taken care of. I make sure that all of the responsibilities are carried out. And they're like, "Wow, that sounds amazing." I didn't tell them I was
I
managing a
love
household.
that. I think that's so awesome. Tina, that's great. And notice that really you just created a small, simple identity shift, and that worked for you.
It did. Yeah. And now, instead of valuing my worth from what I do for a living, I value my worth for the souls that I can impact. So
Yeah.
I'm no longer focused on that dollar. Now I'm focused on the growth and the change I'm making in people's lives. And it
That's
really makes me feel good.
Yeah. And you know what? Whenever you feel good, you're going to attract more of whatever it is that you want next.
Absolutely.
So it's just how it works. That's great. I think that we live in a society where work and what you do is sometimes seen as your purpose. And if you don't have that, then you're nobody. You have no purpose.
Mhm.
You're lost in the world. And I think
Absolutely.
that that's a really big mistake and misconception.
Hmm.
And that's not to say that it's not important to it is important to find your calling and how are you going to serve the world in your own special way with your own special gift. I think that's really important for to in order to live an empowered life that feels really good to you, right? Like you
Hmm.
really need to find that, but it doesn't have to be a title. It can be you were born to be an amazing mother, and you may be nurturing the future president of the United States. You
Hmm.
may, so it's like, again, we go back to the whole, our brain needs to have titles, and it needs to
Hmm.
have black or white, this or that. Oh, and we could do this and that. Wait a minute. Wait a
Right.
minute. What am I going to have to sacrifice? Right.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
that's not, I don't believe our contracts that we were born with into this world have such specific CEO titles, right?
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
I really love that you said what you shifted your focus to, instead of, I'm the CEO of this or whatever your title was, to, what, I really love serving and impacting these women and
Hmm.
the people you work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Simple shift,
So,
very powerful.
so if someone is like, oh my gosh, I need to work with Mariel and shift my mindset around my money, where can they find you?
Well, you can go to my website. You can go to marielalvarado.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Business Alchemist. And what else? And if you're an entrepreneur who really is ready to get visible and start getting clients, you can also go to yoursignatureshow.com. I teach a lot of my clients to do what you're doing right now, and to actually connect their signature show, to actually, how are they going to get clients with it? So you can start there. Any one
I
of those.
can't wait to work with you.
I can't wait to work with you. One of the things, one of the mindset shifts that I went through in my life, and the reason I work with spiritual entrepreneurs specifically, is because I can see from right here the impact your work has with your life, with other people. So it really excites me to know that I can help someone, and in turn, they're going to help thousands. So
Hmm.
that's kind of how my mind works and why I get excited.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can't wait. 2021 is going to be my year.
That's
I'm
it.
claiming it. I'm claiming it. All
2020
right.
has been interesting, so it's got to
It
get
has
better.
been a year of focus.
Yes, absolutely. It was fun being on here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, absolutely. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Belief Breakthrough Show. In the comments, I am going to be giving away my free course, Finding Direction, which gives you the stepping stones of beginning your healing journey, as well as finding growth and development within the lessons you've missed in your life. So you'll find that in the comments, as well as a link to Mariel's. What's the show called? What's the link that you're?
Yoursignatureshow.com.
Yeah, so both of our links will be in the comments below, and you're getting a ton of awesome content by watching this episode today. Tune in on Monday for another amazing expert that will help us overcome our money blocks throughout the month of December. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.